Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack and this is your latest Manchester United news. And we've got plenty to talk about. Job cuts galore at Manchester United as Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos really bring the hammer down in relation to, I suppose, changes at Manchester United. We're not just talking about changing the playing staff, we're talking about changing everything behind the scenes. So we'll talk about what that means as well. Of course, we've got transfer news, guys. As you can see in the title, Manchester United are in for a shock return for Reguilon. So we'll talk about that as well and whether you'd like it or not. We've got updates on De Ligt as well, as I suppose the price is set for him. We've got a small update on Xerxes also, guys, and a report coming out today from the Mirror that we want to talk about in relation to Dan Ashworth and his plans to raise £200 million by selling, a vast amount of players. Now, these players that we're talking about, we pretty much know are going to be leaving anyway. So we'll talk a little bit about that and the reality of actually raising that kind of money. Scott McTominay has got some suitors in the Premier League, so we'll talk a little bit about that as well, and a small update on Mason Greenwood as well. But as always, guys, please do get your thoughts into the comments section. Please smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. If you are new to the channel, do hit that subscribe button as well. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers and less than 60 away now, so please do hit that subscribe button. And like I said, we are less than 2 weeks away from our first watch along of the new pre-season tour. Rosenborg away on the 15th, I think, isn't it? Yes, the 15th of July at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I think that's a Monday, if I'm correct. It is a Monday. So yeah, really looking forward to that, guys. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button as always. But look, we're going to jump straight into it, guys, and talk about the news that's been breaking today in relation to Manchester United and the cuts that are going on behind the scenes. United make huge staff decision after wide-scale cost review. Now, again, I just want to focus on this just for a second in relation to the end of season review. And, we were giving out about how long it was taking because, we wanted a decision made on Erik ten Hag's future and so on and so forth. But little did we know that I think these kind of reviews have been so wide scale that it's encompassing everything to do with the business. And that means that Manchester United are looking to cut staff behind the scenes. Now, let's go down through the report here. According to the Daily Mail, the bombshell announcement came after a wide-scale cost review commissioned by new owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe. The planned redundancies are reportedly driven by financial factors, including a focus on improving the club's on-field performance. United expect to free up tens of millions of pounds by cutting their payroll, and the proceeds will be reinvested in Erik ten Hag's squad after the clubs endured their worst Premier League finish in history, so on and so forth. They want to focus on this part here. United have by far the highest number of staff in the Premier League. Their 1,100 employees are astronomical compared to Man City's 520, and this perceived bloat has been criticised for hindering efficiency and decision making. So look, I mean, first and foremost, I want to say I'd never like to hear about anybody losing their job. Now, these guys are going to get redundancies, and, we do know that a couple of weeks back, there was voluntary redundancies offered to anybody who wanted to take that up at Manchester United. We did see also that Jim Ratcliffe ordered everybody back to the office and no more working from home. So this has kind of been in the pipeline, to be honest. And, when you look at the amount of employees that are working for Manchester United, I know Manchester United is one of the biggest clubs in the world and so on and so forth. But, streamlining businesses is something that any new owner will try and do when he comes in and takes over a business, whether it be a football team or whether it would be Elon Musk buying Twitter, for example, and he literally, halved the employees overnight. This is all to do with, sustainability within a business, and Manchester United is a business. And I know from, a fan perspective, it's not always nice to hear that your football club is a business, but it is. And if it's not run like a business, it won't be around for much longer. Look, I never like to see anybody losing their job, but for the benefits of Manchester United going forward and the sustainability of the club, this is probably something that's long overdue. We've bloated our staff behind the scenes from just over 800 staff to 1,100 in the space of 2.5 years. And look, it's obviously not sustainable. Well, maybe it is sustainable, but maybe it's not a necessity. And that seems to be what Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos are doing with this review. And, staff are going to get cut, and it is a shame, but it's probably something that needs to be done. Like, we're talking here about 250 people, pretty much 240, 250 people. If you're talking about a minimum salary there of, let's say, 40 grand a year, that adds up over the years. It really, really does. And I don't think it's penny pinching. I really don't. I think it's laying down the type of business management that Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos are renowned for. They've done it at Nice, they've done it, in cycling, they've done it in other areas that they've got into. And yeah, when you see the likes of Man City, for example, and how successful they are, albeit they're nowhere near as big of a club as Manchester United, they've got less than half the staff that we've got, and, I think it's a smart move out of Ineos, and I think it's one that will, set precedent for the future going forward, and I'm all for it. I think it's common sense more than anything else. Let's see what people are saying. Man says it's not fair. Nothing in life is, to be honest. Darryl is there. Good to see you. Ben is in. Let's see, Finn is there as well. Chris says, it's not surprising that United is run poorly, meaning paying too many people for doing the same job. Exactly, there you go. Dylan says, I hope De Ligt will be injury free when he comes here, because I believe Ten Hag can definitely get the best of him. We have an update on De Ligt coming in a few minutes as well. Ben says, it's common sense, that's what it's called. And Dylan says, hey Jack, could you give a shout out to Nicole and George if you can please, who are watching? Thanks mate, big United fans. Nicole and George, thanks for watching, hope you're doing well. But yeah, look, I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, guys. It is something that is happening at Manchester United. There are going to be job cuts. The business is going to be streamlined, and yeah, it's going to be streamlined like every other part of the club going forward. And it's a good thing to see. It's a good thing to see. We've got competent owners that are not just hands off. They're getting in, they're getting their hands dirty, they're trying to improve all aspects of the club. There are going to be people that fall by the wayside. It's inevitable when there's a restructuring of any business, and you do feel for the people who will inevitably lose their job. But for the sake of the football club, it needs to be done, I'm afraid. It really, really does. Right, guys, moving it on. I'm talking about transfers. Obviously, we're bang in the middle of transfer season. And some interesting reports coming out today in relation to a left-back. And Manchester United's maybe pursuit of this left back. Now, the funny thing about it is this left back has actually played for Manchester United before. And Manchester United supposedly have expressed interest in a shock move for Sergio Reguilon with Spurs. Let's see, what part are we going to talk about here? AS are reporting that United have expressed interest in bringing Reguilon back to Old Trafford, but they aren't the only club in the hunt. West Ham are too, with new boss Lopetegui having successfully worked with the player at Sevilla in the past. Reguilon finished last season at Brentford after Man United cut his loan deal short. Juventus have shown interest, particularly because Alex Sandro has left the club. So yeah, look, I mean, we do know that left back is an area that Manchester United are potentially going to be looking at. I don't think, I still go back to what I've said a couple of months ago. I don't think this summer will be the summer where we really go for a left back. I really don't. I think with Malacia and Luke Shaw both coming back from injury, I think we'll be able to get another season out of them and then prioritise other areas that need improving. So I think left back. Now, what do I think specifically about Reguilon? I was a big fan of Reguilon when he was at Manchester United, and I thought it was quite a silly move. It was a silly move cutting his loan short. And hindsight is a great thing when you say, oh, look, I mean, we got injuries as soon as we sent it back, and Malacia, his injury extended, and so on and so forth. I think he's a better player than Malacia, and I think we were getting him on such a good deal. I know, albeit a loan deal, it wasn't costing us an awful lot of money. I would have kept him, and I think it would have given us an awful lot of balance. That period of time where we had no left back, and you were talking about either Wan-Bissaka or Dalot playing out of position, was quite a. It was quite a struggle. It really was. And I mean, if we're going in for Reguilon again, go in for him. Brilliant. I still think he would be probably a backup to a fit Luke Shaw. However, I do think he would give you really, really good competition for a Luke Shaw. I'd be all okay for that. John is in, a member for 4 months. Appreciate it, man. Hello, guys and gals. Greetings from Sweden. Appreciate the super sticker as well, John. Absolute legend. Always a great supporter of the channel. Really, really appreciate it. And greetings from Sweden. Right back to you, man. But yeah, I mean, look, Reguilon to Manchester United again. Look, I don't know what we're looking at. Is there even a price tag on it here? I don't think there is. An original offer starting at 35 million. Oh no, sorry, that's in relation to Brantwaite. Sorry, kind of a segue on that interview. Look, I mean, if the money is right and you can get Reguilon in for decent money, I would absolutely 100% go for it. However, my thinking here is that, would you go and pay money for a Reguilon now as a potential backup to Luke Shaw, given the fact that we're probably going to need to go into the transfer market for a number one left back in the next maybe 12 months, I think. I really do think that. I think Luke Shaw's injuries are starting to occur. I don't think Malacia is good enough to be the number one left back. I think he's perfect for, a backup role there. So do I see United going for Reguilon? I would be very surprised if we did, to be honest with you, because I think we're going to have to invest in a number one left back within the next 12 months, if not, 2 years at the very, very latest. So yeah, I don't see why we would go out and spend money on Reguilon if he's going to be a backup to a fully fit Luke Shaw. Now, you might disagree. Do you think Reguilon gets in maybe ahead of Luke Shaw? I'm not too sure. Let's see what you guys have to say. Chris says Reguilon will be a good squad signing. Played well for us. Absolutely, he did. We should have kept him and moved Malacia on, says Darryl. He should be pretty inexpensive, says Chris. He can play right back if Aaron Wan-Bissaka leaves as well. Great deal for us to get done, says Ben. Laser says, hi Jack, hope you're well. I'm very happy over the De Ligt move. I'm confident Fab will announce it sometime this week. From reports I hear today, sounds like it's done. Very exciting player. Dylan says we don't need Reguilon. Bover says who's Malacia. John says I wouldn't mind that, so that's in relation to Reguilon as well. And Laser says I don't rate Reguilon at all. I don't know what was the worth in getting him in the summer. Came in and had a stinker in the UEFA Champions League and barely played. It's a no from me. We should be doing better for left back. I actually thought he played really well. I think the majority of people thought he played well. John says, I think Malacia's career is in danger. What is it, 12 months away from football? Yet, like a full season out. Didn't he get injured in pre-season last year? I remember the game actually as well, that he got injured, and yeah, it just reoccurred throughout the entirety of the season. He couldn't get over that injury, kept niggling at him. Look, I mean, this season is going to tell a lot for Malacia. First and foremost, whether he can get fit and stay fit, and secondly, whether he can actually get into the team and get some sustained period of playing for Manchester United. Because, look, I think Malacia is a decent left back, and he had a really good spell when he first came to us. He actually kept Luke Shaw out of the team for a while. And I think there is a decent player there. I think he would be very good in a West Ham or a Bournemouth or, a Wolves, for example. And I think he could make a very good career out of it. But is he a first choice option for Manchester United? I don't think so. Is he going to be happy to remain a backup option regardless of who we get? I don't know, and I don't think he probably will. So Malacia, look, we got him for such cheap money that you could probably move him on I mean, if he has a half decent season this season, you could probably move him on maybe in 12 months' time and recoup all your money back. And if not, maybe make a slight profit on it. You never know. You never know. But yeah, John says hit that like button. Absolutely, guys. Please do smash the like button if you haven't already done so. Subscribe if you are new to the channel as well, guys. Helps the channel out a lot. Look, we've got 18 people watching and only 3 likes. Take a second, hit that like button for me. It helps out the channel an awful lot. As always, Laser says, I think if we can stick with Malacia and Shaw next season, and try to save some money, that might be a better option, but both are injury prone, so I guess us looking at left back is understandable. Yeah, and look, that's exactly my point. I don't think it's a number one priority for us, but if an option presents itself and an opportunity presents itself to improve that area, then I think you do have to take it. And that goes for any area within the squad. You know, like we look at the right wing position, I think is very similar to left back. We do have people who can play there. It might not be the best options, but if a Michael Elise, for example, the opportunity arises, you go and you try and get it done. Now, obviously we didn't, but just because it's not a number one area of concern and a priority in terms of strengthening doesn't mean, you know, we shouldn't go for something if the opportunity presents itself. Right, guys, want to move it on and talk a little bit about Matthijs de Ligt. Now, obviously, you know, United are being heavily linked with him at the moment. And reports coming out from Neil Custis in the Sun today has suggested that the move, the £40 million move to Manchester United will be completed once the Netherlands Euro 2024 campaign ends. Now, look, we see this an awful lot, don't we? You know, when there are Euros and World Cups and Copa Americas on, that deals don't tend to get done. Well, they do, but not an awful lot of them tend to get done while the competition is on. And it's understandable. Players are concentrating on playing for their country, playing in a major tournament, and, you know, they'll deal with it once the tournament is over. Look, I think De Ligt is... I think he's absolutely sewn on to sign for Manchester United. I really do. I don't see this not happening unless for some reason he fails a medical or something like that. Now, look, reports coming out today and a lot of people jumping on it online as well. Images of him training on his own with the Netherlands, not training with the squad, and, you know, more reports coming out suggesting that, you know, and fans online worrying about his injury record and that he's training again. Is he injured again? I mean, I don't really know, to be quite honest with you. His injury record, I mean, we can pull it up here. I looked at it on Transfer Market the other day, and a lot of people talking about it being... being a concern. However, let me see. Injury history. Let's bring it up here and we'll have a look at it. Let's see. So, it does look quite extensive, in fairness. Now, there are 2 pages. We go all the way back to 2016, 2017. These are all minor things, you know, 11 days, 10 days, no issue with these, to be quite honest with you. You know, you're seeing knee problems, thigh problems, 10 days, 11 days, no issues with that. If we come down here, we're talking about an ankle sprain, 7 days, 11 days. You know, the first major one was a shoulder injury in 2020, 2021. He was out for about 3 months there, 3.5 months. Coronavirus, 18 days. Muscle fatigue, groin problems, abductor pain, 10 days there for ligament stretch, 2 days, 7 days, 22 days for a knock, 42 days then for inner knee ligament tear. So, you know, 6 weeks. I mean, I don't see this as being a real concern. I really don't. I don't think he is injury prone. I mean, we're looking at an ankle sprain, a shoulder injury. You know, shoulder injury. I mean, coronavirus, muscle fatigue, groin, abductors, ligaments, once, virus, calf, knock, ligaments. these are all minor things when you're talking about the days and the lengths that he's been out for. I don't see it as being a massive issue. I really, really don't. Like I said, he's 24 years of age. He's not old enough to be an injury-prone player with these kind of figures, if you're asking me. Now, Manchester United are no longer in the kind of area where they're not going to be doing their due diligence anymore. They're going to be extensively scouting players, injuries, mentality, form, all of these kind of things, with the likes of Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada, Dave Brailsford, so on and so forth. The list goes on. We're not going to be signing players because of their names anymore, okay? This guy is being signed by Manchester United for a reason, and it's because they think he's good enough to play for United. And all of that will come into... Now, obviously, he still has to go and do a medical, and if he fails the medical, then deal is off, But I don't see it as being an issue with these kind of stats here. I really, really don't. Let's see what people are saying here. Let's see. Dylan says, hopefully Turkey kick Netherlands out soon, so we get him, will be good. Yeah, look, I mean, the sooner the better. I would love to see him go on pre-season tour. Now, he will get an extended period of time. You're talking 2-3 weeks, probably. So, yeah, I mean, how many of these players are we actually going to see on the pre-season tour remains to be seen. Dylan also says, De Ligt wants us, he was linked to PSG, but said he wants us, even with no UEFA Champions League. That's what we need in a player, proper players who want to play for us. Yeah, we mentioned that last night. You want to be signing players who want to play for the club. Laser says, De Ligt is a top-notch signing and someone we should have had a long time ago. If my memory serves me correct, I think Ollie wanted him at one point, but wasn't able to get him. Very happy with this. Yeah, we were linked with him at the time he went to Juventus. And that would have been when Solskjaer was the manager, all right. It was around the time after they got to the Champions League semi-final, and, when Spurs knocked them out with the last kick of the game. And basically everybody was coming in and just cherry-picking the whole team apart. So, yeah, we missed out on them then. Chris says, I read he is training more on his own because he's not getting time with the Netherlands squad. Got to stay fit. All right, I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that. Finn says, why is he a bench warmer at the Euros if he's now currently fit? I don't know. I mean, some things can be as simple as manager not fancying you. You know what I mean? Like if we look at Netherlands versus Romania the other night, the centre-back pairing was Van Dijk and Van der Vril. They've got some good defenders in their team. They really do. So, yeah, I mean, Nathan Ake is there as well. You got, Van der Ven. You got Matteson, or Matson is there as well. So, they've got some good centre-backs. And sometimes maybe just the manager, has priorities. Let's see. Dylan says, De Ligt will be vital for the way Ten Hag wants to play. Let's get this deal over the line now and start business early. And Laser says, one option I really wanted this summer was Ian Matson. Proved himself in pre-season for Chelsea. I went to Dortmund and was the best left back in the league last season, so hope he does well at Villa. So yeah, there we go. Cheers, by the way, says John. I'm having a beer or two. Good man, John. That's the stuff, man. Happy days. Halfway through the week. Bye. Anyway, let's move it on. I never brought in my water with me. Let's move it on and talk a little bit about the striker situation at Manchester United and the second striker that we're talking about here. You all know who we're talking about. It's Xerxes. His agent lands in Milan, but commissions keep Manchester United in the race. Supposedly, Xerxes' agent has arrived in Milan today amid reports Manchester United are ready to pay his €15 million commission for the Bologna striker. The situation has been clear for many weeks now, as there is a €40 million release clause in his contract with Bologna, so that can be activated at any time. Milan agreed personal terms with the player, but are point blank refusing to pay the 15 million in commission that his agent is asking for. The Rossoneri have for several years now taken a moral stance against excessive fees demanded by agents, believing them to be getting out of control. So with neither side ready to budge, Manchester United have been allowed into the race for Xerxes. According to multiple sources, his agent arrived in the city of Milan today, but he might not necessarily be there to meet with AC Milan. There are many other clients he can discuss with other clubs, including Reguilon, Spurs, interest from Napoli, and represents new Juventus signing Douglas Luiz. So there we go. I mean, Xerxes still is in the balance, in my opinion. I mean, we were speaking about him last night, and the fact that his priority actually is to sign for AC Milan. AC Milan is the club that he wants to sign for. Now, he doesn't, he's not rejecting the opportunity to sign for Manchester United, absolutely not. But I think his priority is to stay in Italy. We need a striker, and I said it last night. I think this could be one that drags on, because this agent fee of 15 million is something that seems to be a sticking point. Now, reports have suggested that the agent is willing to lower the commission for Manchester United, but not AC Milan. But that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it really doesn't. If anything, Manchester United could afford to pay the 15 million more so than AC Milan could. And yeah, I mean, I don't see why he would be lowering it for one club and not for another, especially when his client is favouring the club that you won't lower the asking price for, AC Milan. So I don't know. Xerxes, no massive updates on him, but I'm still waiting to kind of hear the next step in this process, because it's going to be a make or break step, in my opinion. I think we could be very close to walking away from this deal if, one, the player doesn't agree to come to us, two, the agent doesn't lower his asking price. I think this deal could very easily be walked away from. That's what I would say about Xerxes. Let's see what we've got here. Let's see, where are we? There we go. Goofy says, are you Eric Ten Hag in? Absolutely, I am Eric Ten Hag in, 100%. Chris says, this is troubling. Maybe we need to move on. Laser says, if the Ligt comes in, do you think Todibo will no longer be in the conversation anymore? I think we need more than one centre-back this summer, especially if Lindelof goes, but it's all about our profit. Yeah, I think probably Todibo will be done and dusted if we bring in De Ligt. I think we will probably still go and look for another centre-back, but I think we'll look for a left-footed centre-back. We've only got one left-footed centre-back now, and that's Lisandro Martinez. So I think we'll probably either bring in De Ligt and then try and go for... I mean, we're probably going to go back in for Brantwaite, to be honest with you, depending on what we can get him for. John says, I think it's good for Rasmus to get competition. He has to be that good, or he has not been that good in the Euros. I agree with you, John, absolutely. We've said this before on multiple occasions. Competition is vital for the health of a squad and the health of a club. You need to have players fighting for positions. You can't have a player coming in knowing he can put in a subpar performance and still go in and expect to pick up the jersey. Now, I don't think Rasmus has that mentality. But, you know, if you have somebody nipping at his heels, saying, I want to be the man, I want to take your spot, it keeps everybody, keeps everybody at the peak, you know. Dylan says, I don't really care so much about Xerxes. If he comes in, I think you want to be starting most of the games rather than Hyland. Finn says, sets a bad precedent if we pay that agent's commission. Exactly, Finn. And we're trying to get away from that. And to be honest with you, I would be surprised if the likes of Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada and whoever else is negotiating deals like this would sanction €15 million in commission. I really do. I'd be very surprised. Chris says maybe we just need to walk away. John says Eric Ten Hag in or out is not an issue anymore. He's here to stay. Absolutely, John. Forget about him and move on, says Daryl. Make an offer. If not expected, move on. Well, see, the thing about it is, Ben, is that all we need to do is trigger the transfer fee. So when there's a transfer, or when there's a transfer fee, a release clause, when there's a release clause there to be triggered, teams tend to get the personal details in the background done first and foremost. You agree personal terms, you agree the agent's fees, you agree a salary, so on and so forth. And when all that's done, literally then, bing, you trigger the 40 million release clause, and then bang, it's basically, here we go. You know what I mean? Goofy says, De Ligt is a great signing. Ten Hag will get the best out of him considering he is his former manager. And Dylan says, we should just move on from Xerxes and try get someone else, like maybe Evan Ferguson or someone like Tuna from Wolves. Those players are Prem proven. Well, Evan Ferguson, you know, obviously I'm Irish. I'd love to see him play for Man United. But he went from being a £100 million player last summer to basically nobody wanting him this summer. So, yeah, I think you would probably overpay for the likes of Evan Ferguson, if I'm being 100% honest, even though I would love to see him at United. I was looking at some available offers for centre-backs this window, and I found Slovenia's. But that lad, similar De Ligt build, and played very well in the Euros. Don't see us getting him, to be honest. And Goofy says, I would rather we get Tony, Hyland and Xerxes are not good enough. Well, I disagree with you on that one, Goofy. I mean, Hyland scored 16 goals in his first season at Manchester United. You know what I mean? That is a very decent return for a first season for a 20-year-old, 21-year-old. He's a good player. Anyway, let's move it on, guys. Want to talk a little bit about a report coming out from the Mirror today in relation to Dan Ashworth looking to raise £200 million in funds for transfer targets this summer. The report is coming out today, and we'll cut straight to the chase here on who we're looking at moving on. Let me zoom in a bit here so you guys can see on screen. I know a lot of people watch on their phone, so let me do that and let me do that. Now, there we go. Last month, the club announced that the current first team, only 6 players were being marked as untouchable this summer. The small shortlist was made up of goalkeeper Andre Onana, key defenders Alessandro Martinez and Diogo Dalot, FA Cup final goal scorers Kobbie Mainoo and Garnacho, and the club's only striker Rasmus Højlund. With these in mind, it was understood at the time that all of the other first team squad members would be considered for moves away from Old Trafford for the right price. With United's relatively small transfer budget of £50 million, it's clear that the Red Devils do need to offload some players this year. The Mirror have reported that Ashworth has identified 7 players he wants to offload, which he believes could raise a combined sum of £200 million to support transfer offers for United's key targets this summer. The 7 players set for the cut are Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire, Casemiro, Christian Eriksen, Anthony, Jadon Sancho and Mason Greenwood. And they're the players that you're looking at moving on to raise, 200 million, supposedly. Now, will we raise 200 million from them players? No, I don't think we will. Will we get rid of all of them players? No, I don't think we will. To get rid of them players means you need to replace them, all right? And we're not even adding in people like Donny van de Beek, like Hannibal here. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is not on that list either. So to move on this amount of players means you've got to replace this amount of players, okay? Now, you don't have to replace every single one of them. For example, Jadon Sancho and Mason Greenwood both play on the right-hand side. Do we need to replace them? We've dealt without them this summer or last season so far. So you don't specifically have to replace each individual one of these players. However, okay, if we are to sell all of these players, it's an awful lot of business that needs to get done between now and the end of the season. You're talking about basically a player, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, throw in Wan-Bissaka, Donny van de Beek, and that's 10 players. Okay, we're already in July, so we've got July and August. You're talking about a player every 5 or 6 days to be sold. Are we going to be able to do that? I don't know. I don't think so. Now, look, I mean, we could not sell anybody for the next 3 weeks, and all of a sudden, in the space of 3 days, we could sell 4 players, because we're working on things in the background. I understand that. I just think it's an awful lot of work to get done in one transfer window. If you're going to be looking to... Now, we do need to raise money, absolutely. But I think we're going to have to prioritise on who we're looking to sell here. Like, let's take them 7, for example, okay? And let's say you sold Greenwood, Lindelof, and Ericsson, okay? You would probably raise 50 million for the 3 of them. You know what I mean? Now, 50 million is not going to get you very far in the transfer market, given the amount of business we need to get done. However, it's better than, a slap of a wet fish. So I do think that we need to prioritise who we can potentially look at selling this summer, because if we can go on and sell, for example, Jadon Sancho for 40 million, Anthony for 30 million, Casemiro for 30 million, and Harry Maguire for 30 million, then all of a sudden it's nearly 100 million that you're... Maybe it was more than 100 million. I don't know. My maths today has not been the best. So, yeah, I mean, if you're getting 30 for Harry, right, 30 for Casemiro, that's 60. 30 for Anthony, that's 90. Maybe 40 for Sancho, that's, 130 million right there. Will we get that amount for all of them? No, probably not. That's on the high end that I'm talking about here. But look, Dan Ashworth has got some plans to, stir up some revenue here and move on some players. And I think it's right to do that. I do think it's right to do that. I think for far too long we've, mollycoddled players and offered them new deals and stuff like that. And you look at Aaron Wan-Bissaka, for example. I do think Aaron Wan-Bissaka will probably move on this summer as well. Because, the way that Ineos are doing things now, you're not going to allow a player go into his defined year of his contract. Either we need to sell Aaron Wan-Bissaka this year, or we need to offer him a new contract. Because if we don't offer him a new contract, he'll leave for free next summer. And I don't see Manchester United giving him a new deal. So that only leaves one remaining option, and that's to sell him this summer. And I think that's probably what will happen, to be quite honest with you. Another player, guys, that has been reportedly been gaining a lot of interest within the Premier League is Scott McTominay. 4 Premier League clubs are interested in McTominay, with Fulham expected to lodge a bid. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Where are we here? A previous report covered by the People's Person relayed that the Red Devils are open to selling their talisman midfielder. Talisman? I don't know about that. For the right price. It was also stated that Marco Silva's Fulham retain admiration for the 27-year-old and view him as someone who would fit perfectly into the middle of the park at Craven Cottage. According to Manchester World, Fulham are not the only party pursuing keeping tabs on McTominay. Fulham are leading the chase to sign the midfielder and are expected to put in a bid later this summer, while you're also got the likes of Southampton, Newcastle and West Ham are interested in him. Now, Scott McTominay to Fulham, I could see happening, and the reason being is that Fulham have recently just lost Paulinho to Bayern Munich, so they have got a big hole in the middle of midfield that you could see maybe Scott McTominay filling for them. I think it would be a good move for him. I really do. I think it probably is the right time for United to move him on. And I said this a few weeks back, when we were at the end of the season, that is Scott McTominay's value ever going to be higher? This time last year, West Ham were in for him. The deal didn't end up getting happened for whatever reason. He's had a very good season by his standards this year. He's got some really important goals. He's put in some really good performances. And I think Ten Hag has got the best out of him than any other manager at Manchester United, since Scott McTominay has been there. So I think you know, it's always disappointing to see an academy player leave. However, I don't think his value will be any higher because he's had a good season, and I think it's time maybe to move him on and see what kind of money we can get for him and reinvest it. You know what I mean? Reinvest it as quickly as possible. Let's see. Sell McMuffin, sell him now. Chris, thanks for the 20 months. Appreciate it, man. Absolute legend of the community, guys. Big love there for Chris. Anyone else wants to become an official member, guys, link is in the description of the video. Click the link, check out the options, become an official channel member. Priority comments read out, extra content. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing a members only quiz once a month as well for members only, where we'll jump on, we'll do a live quiz. I don't know whether to do it live or pre-recorded and let you guys watch it. I'm still trying to figure that out. But yeah, if you want to become an official channel member, link is in the description. And of course, next season then as well, as always, you'll be able to come on as a channel member to our match reaction videos. Come on live with us on screen. Give us your opinions, even if it's for, 30 seconds, just to jump on and say that was shit or that was brilliant. You can do that then as a channel member. So yeah, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I do appreciate everybody watching. If you are new to the channel, will you please do me a favor and subscribe? We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, just over 50 away from reaching it. I really do appreciate everybody that subscribed to the channel recently. And of course, like I said, we're getting back into the watch-alongs in less than 2 weeks as well. Do smash a like on the video as well, guys. Really, really poor showing on the likes tonight, I have to say. Disappointed in the lot of ye. 23 people watching. 135 people in total have been watching, and we've only got 5 likes. You need to do better. You need to do better, so you do. Smash a like on your way out if you haven't already done so. Follow us on Instagram as well, guys. TikTok, all of that kind of stuff, where you can keep up to date with everything as well. I'll be back again tomorrow night, as always. Let's hope we have some updates. Let's hope we get close to signing someone by the end of the week and we can all breathe a sigh of relief. But look, it will happen sooner or later. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great evening, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.